to have them judge each of the two founders, Hagen and Anna, judged two competitions this week. As yesterday, their picture was on the front of the New York Times being recognized for their company being worth $20 million and 27 employees now here in Starkville. So that was a special moment for the Entrepreneurship Center to be able to say that our winners from 2015 judging were now in the New York Times. The other notable was our 2019 winners, the founders of Rocketing Systems, who have just now finished raising just under $1 million. Their headquarters is also here in Starkville, Mississippi. They got to judge two competitions as well. As we spent an hour with them, fireside chat style, yesterday with about 60 students. So it's been an incredible week to see a culture of entrepreneurship alive here in Starkville. And it's a part of all of you that have joined us and made it happen here. So it's been really a special week with our technology excitement. We can't make this happen without partners. We've had a lot of people that make it possible. And particularly tonight, we have a group of judges that are in for a really tough decision. We've got the winners of all the preceding competitions here for this BankTEL grand finale, and there are 6 teams that are going to be giving you one heck of a presentation. So additionally to our 3 distinguished judges, and I'll have Jeffrey introduce them in a moment, we have some alumni who have joined us for our alumni division that are sitting in and judging with us, Mr. Terrence Green. Terrence, thanks for coming. And Terrence, tell us a little bit about your business.
So I make animated videos that help companies explain, educate, or entertain their viewers. Companies can use these videos to give an overview about what their company or organization does, and they can also educate just different viewers and organizations just on topics like insurance, finances, things like that.
And Terrence was one of our student workers here in the Entrepreneurship Center, a multi-time competitor as a Startup Summit Law student, and now full-time in his business in Memphis. Welcome back, Terrence. Thank you very much. Second, we have Mr. Alex Mayfield. Please tell us about your business.
I'm Alex Mayfield. My wife and I, Addie, we started a business this past fall. It's called The Farm, just outside of Starkville here. Our main goal was to educate kids on where the food comes from. So it's agritourism. So you come, bring your family. We have rides. We got a lot of exciting things to do for young kids and parents. But that's kind of our goal, is to teach kids where their food comes from. So how to grow their own food. So we appreciate you having us, and look forward.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rupp, will you please join us and introduce our 3 distinguished guests?
I will. Before I do it, this thing grows every year, and it's not possible without the help of our staff. So where is all the staff? Acknowledge them, give them a hand. They are under the guidance and direction of Ms. Brooke Lammer. Not going to take a bow. And none of this, and I mean none of this, would be possible without the support of our dean of business, Sharon also. The most important piece of the puzzle is Eric Hill himself, a serial entrepreneur and educator and a mentor. So there's that would be possible if we didn't have community partners, because it takes a village to raise an entrepreneur. It really does, and that's especially true here at Starkville. So our 3 judges are all community partners. We begin, Mr. Lee Harris. He has a career that has spanned over 2 decades, mostly in the scrap metal sector. He's done everything from accounting to human resources, and has played a role in multiple corporate mergers. He has a degree in marketing and management from Baylor, and MBA from the University of North Colorado. And what is a GPA?
Bachelor of Professional Accounts.
Thank you. From Mississippi State University. He was an independent contractor. I thought this was a type for a global company that was $300 million a month. Wow. And he's helped with 3 startup operations from 3 different companies. Lee Harris. Thank you. Bill Strio is the director of Tailored Defense Products, a division that can help creative. He attended Wake Forest and Albany Law School. He spent the first part of his career in public service as an attorney for the state of New York, where, among many other things, he oversaw the privatization of 2 nuclear power plants. He also was a successful lobbyist and even owned a restaurant in San Antonio, so very well-rounded. Feels free. The third judge, the Honorable Lynn Sproul, who is a structural maker, a developer, a property manager, an attorney, and along with being the current mayor of Shelter, she was also the mayor of a city in Texas. She was a commercial airline pilot and the first female to qualify to land the jet on aircraft carriers. Quite a happy resume there. Thank you.
No pressure, students. So throughout the week, we have awarded nearly $40,000 in prizes, which will be where we land at tonight. And tonight's prizes represent the biggest chunk of that. So our first place prize will be $6,000, our second place prize, $3,000, our third place prize, $1,500. And that money doesn't just appear. If you look at the front of your program, I really appreciate if you take the time to recognize our sponsors, particularly BankTEL Systems, Reed Food Technologies, J5 Global, and Industry Services Co. These folks are literally writing checks that fund the next generation of ideas in Mississippi. If you know the founders, or know the people involved in those companies, please do us a favor and send them a thank you. We can't do what we do. You can't start great businesses without support from people like that, then we can't do anything else. So let's give them a round of applause. Few housekeeping notes on logistics for this afternoon's presentations. First, each presenter will have 5 minutes to present with a 3-minute Q&A period. Q&A, please leave reserved for the judges. And if you have questions of the teams, make sure you save those for the reception afterwards. So the judges have Q&A. Second thing, anything in your pocket or in your bag or anything that beeps, chirps, clacks, buzzes, or any other noise making, please do us a favor and silence that out of respect for the presenters. Make sure that we have their full undivided attention. The last thing is in your program, there's a small card that looks like this. Make sure you get one of these. This is worth $500 this afternoon. $500 based on your vote for your favorite team this afternoon. So make sure if you don't have a program, you get one of these, and we will, our staff will collect it at the end of the presentation. We will award an extra $500 to presenter tonight. And without that, we are ready to begin our presentations tonight. So first up, and it will take us just a moment to get their presentation loaded, will be Team Husky. Come on down.
Imagine the price, the poster that's enhancing blue and green infrastructure through sustainable bioproducts. And I'm a sustainable bioproduct researcher. I'm also a business coach. I'm also assisted by a number of people in my team. Most importantly, Lakon, who is a nanomaterial specialist. The global production of cement has exceeded 3.6 billion tons, in meeting mankind's need for urbanization, particularly those that involve buildings and infrastructure. And cement is a wonderful binder that helps to form interaction with aggregates to produce concrete in terms of water. The reason why concrete is a very useful material in the construction industry is because concrete itself has high compressive strength. But the major drawback is that concrete leads to be prone to crack formation, and this is because it is brittle, and as a result, it leads to low tensile strength. But one major thing we need to know about the production of cement is that production of cement leads to the formation of CO2 emission, and that is a major contributor to global warming. And now what's the solution? Hospital is the solution. And hospital consists of sustainable bioproducts, for example, more importantly, graphene, biotic composites, which helps to reinforce concrete. And it can add more compressive strength and tensile capacity for about 150% more than standard concrete. And now, we have the preliminary state of development, but one thing about hospitals also is that hospitals helps you to reduce cost of purchase if you are a customer, because we will not be using the 100% of the material that is originally used for production of concrete. And so, how does it work? We'll help to reduce the effect of climate change. Well, more importantly, we help to reduce the production of cementitious, the use of cementitious material. So instead of using 100% cementitious material, we can use 50% and use 50% of our cofinalized biogen. As a result, we are reducing the effect of CO2 in the atmosphere. Thereby, we will be contributing to three major goals of the United Nations. That is, we'll be enhancing infrastructure, we'll be bringing about sustainable communities, and more importantly, reducing the effect of climate change because of the increasing mechanical properties and also the reduction of micropores and microcracks. We'll need over $550,000 to establish. $200,000 we use to purchase equipment and also business, and also $200,000 will be used to for the running cost for a period of 6 months to stabilize the business. And in the first year, we'll make $400,000, and next year we'll make double the amount, and in the third year we'll make triple the amount. And as service, our target market includes service construction industries and also contractors, builders, as well as retailers. We have wonderful sales and marketing strategy. We will brand all our products, make sure people see it everywhere. We'll also use attractive deals, fear of missing out strategy. We'll also use digital acquisition by taking our customers and the right purchase after 24 hours, and internet marketing and apps will be used. We will not go too low, but we'll make sure that our customers get more for less. So, this is what we try to do this morning, just for you to see. Finally, we have wonderful competitive advantage. And with all of these, by our wonderful sales strategy, by our wonderful welfare and technical know-how ability, we will be able to produce sustainable, reliable, affordable, and durable concretes for the next future generation. Thank you.
3 minutes for questions.
Is this a product that could overlay on top of existing concrete with adhere?
Okay.
Is this a product that could overlay on an existing layer of concrete and adhere to it?
Yeah, it can
Fill in
be.
the pores
Yeah,
and adhere to it?
it can be that.
Okay.
Can you address a little bit your kind of going to market distribution strategy? Concrete is typically handled locally through heavy. Who's your target and how do you plan to penetrate the market?
Okay, what is important right now is we want to meet the local contractors, people who are in the local environment. But more importantly, we want to create an international visibility because once I've been to the line, everybody can know about it. So we have service construction contract industry. We have government agencies who may need our help as well. We also have local builders who would want to use it. But I believe that when we meet one person and the person sees the efficacy of a product, he or she will be able to tell others about it and will influence the world one at a time.
How does your cost, adding this to existing concrete?
Yeah.
Right. What is your cost like? I mean, how do you determine how it is competitively to current concrete?
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line is going to be the thing that's like somebody wants to put a foundation in for a building or something of that nature. You know, to use your product, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna.
Yeah.
One thing. How much? I was gonna say.
Okay. one thing is very important. We need to know that instead of making cementitious material, trying to use 100% of what is usually used, we are going to be dividing it into two. We're going to be using our functionalized biochar. Biochar is going from the process of biomass waste material. And so it means that we are sequestering carbon. And so if we are doing that, we are reducing your own capability to spend more. And so we will be charging you lower than what is really expected, like providing adequate and high capacity products.
Are the temperature constraints that concrete has, is it gonna be the same constraints that this would have?
Temperature?
Temperature. You can't lay concrete, can't pour concrete if it's too cold, for example. So is that something that would impact, this would be impacted the same way?
It's gonna be, the temperature is gonna be reduced because we are not using the full 100%. We are incorporating biomaterial. And biomaterial, this biochar is gotten from the pyrolysis. Pyrolysis means you burn a material, plant waste, in the absence of oxygen, right? And so it heats up what the CO2 is sequestered in.
Where are you, being property, where would you, it's a byproduct or something?
One of the products that we use is Rise contains silicon, naturally. And so it's a very component of that is used to enhance the capacity of cement. And so we use Rise, we also use pyrolysis of different products to do all these things. And Stanford is a wonderful place because it's really one of the top states where we have forestry resources.
Is there a reason municipalities weren't on your list of target?
Yeah, sure.
There's a reason municipalities weren't on your list of folks to be targeting?
Sure, we'll be targeting everyone needs sustainable concrete.
You know, the pound per square inch, this particular critique is, would this be something you could, you have to pour thicker, so is it stronger, I guess?
Yeah, sure. That's the reason, because we are not just trying to save you money. We're trying to save you, we're trying to make the concrete durable. It means that our product will have more than 150% compressive strength compared to standard concrete.
Is this been patented? Have you patented this?
Yeah, we did something this morning, but it's not yet it's not gone through the first theory.
Did you have? Okay.
And that'll have to be our last question. Thank you so much. Okay, next up will be Mr. Griffin Adcock with the quick release clothes hanger. Judges, are we ready?
Hi, I'm Griffin Adcock, and if you're like me, you're all that worried about being late today. That's fine. I have to get dressed as quickly as I could to make sure I wasn't late. That's why I've made the quick release clothes hanger to make getting ready quicker and easier. So what does it do? It's a collapsible handle, and when you pull down on the bottom of the shoulder, it folds up and slides out the neck, easy as can be. Anybody of any age or physical capability should be able to do it. So what's this solving? What you're looking at is my favorite t-shirt that I got as a freshman. But now the neck has been damaged and stretched out, so I can't walk around without that. So I'm trying to prevent all of your nice shorts from ending up like mine. Another thing that we take for granted is, and most of us, it's simple to use a coat hanger, but not everybody has the same capabilities as us. This will make it more accessible for younger children, people with disabilities, or the elderly. And how are we accomplishing this? I've made a collapsible hanger that is as simple as just pulling down the shoulder. Right now, I have a functioning prototype, but I plan to make some small improvements to it before filling out an MSU invention disclosure and eventually a full step of a patent. So now you want a short handle to do two things. You want it to be able to hang the short and to take off the short. And it's just as simple as that. You take it, grab it, and it's off. Now, it works great for normal t-shirts, and it's also great for children's t-shirts. So, a little short kid, perfectly able to pull it off, just like that. But now, you also need to be able to put it back on the short. And so, it's just as easy. All you have to do is find the hole in the neck of your short, collapse it down, and slide it in. It'll automatically spring back into place when you hang back up. Now, the ideal customers for this is all of us. We all use handles to put up our shorts. So this is going to make it quick and easy for everybody. But again, it's specifically helpful for those of us who it isn't always easy for. Young children might not be able to reach up to this bar, so they can grab it from the bottom. The elderly might not have the dexterity in their hands to maneuver a short through the handle. And people with disabilities, or those confined to a wheelchair, or perhaps an amputee with only one arm. This again makes it easier for them. It's also great for businesses that already provide your angle in your life. So if you're in a first class plane ticket, at a hotel or cruise ship, even a hospital, all these places where they have closets ready for you and they'll provide you angles. Now you have an easy way to hang your stuff. That's why I also have a version that doesn't come off the rack. That way, when guests are finished, we're not wondering what your new angles that you just gave. It also works great for your nice business show. So you don't have to worry about that at your nice conferences and hotels. So right now, I'm producing this for about $1.50, but at a manufacturing scale, it'll only be about 35 cents. So we sell a pack of them directly to consumers through online markets like Amazon for $12 for a pack of 10. Then through the materials cost being very cheap, and then label being simple design, manufacturing, it leaves us with about $7.50 of profit and 62.5% of a gross margin. We also wholesale these out to a little bit higher end retail stores like Home Goods, Bed Bath & Beyond, trying to stay away from Walmart. When I'm there, I look for the cheapest item I can find. So as for competition, we're competing directly with just your standard angle because it's what everybody knows the most. That's why I'm trying to keep the price as cheap as we can so we can stay competitive. There are other collapsible angles, and right now, they're more expensive. On Amazon, you can find a pack of 12 for $25, nearly double the cost for just 2 more angles. These also require buttons that you have to press at the top, which means you no longer have that ease of use for shoulder people or people confined to wheelchairs. They also collapse and then just hang. They don't have this spring action, meaning that it's going to come back up automatically. So that's another step you have to do yourself. Thank you.
It's the weight. Because if I'm hanging a heavy pillow there, it's not gonna hold it up, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
do you determine what that weight will be? Shirts are good, t-shirts are good, but
Yes, ma'am. Right now, this swing is capable of holding up to about 90.94 pounds, so nearly a pound. And so one of the ideas I was having is lowering the weight of that, so it's holding for t-shirts, but then having a heavier swing for your winter coat, so leather jacket, so.
On the same line, how hard is it? Well, I noticed you were holding the top of the hanger.
Yes, so,
Does it knock it off if you pull it and then the hanger's on the floor type of thing?
right now, the swing is, so this in front of you. So right now, the swing is a little bit stronger than it needs to be because it's just a swing I bought myself. So if I go, it's going. But with portable spring that's weighted, whether it's a t-shirt or a jacket, then it's not going anywhere.
And I noted you have a pretty good idea how you want to get distribution. Do you have any idea how large the market is? There are some competitors out there. Any idea what kind of revenue this market is?
No, so I have only been able to find a couple of products that are flexible like this. Most people, if you don't look like a flexible ankle, it's just gonna fold down or short.
To piggyback off of his, I know I saw your distribution thing. Have you thought about anything as far as like marketing yourself, like what you want to do as far as marketing, what challenge you want to pursue, or how you want to bring, bring this to market that you know that it exists?
Yeah, so my plan for that is really just to, once I have this path, to start reaching out to other companies, develop an online presence through Instagram, a website, things of that nature, and then do like advertisements on Amazon.
Yeah. And have you thought about any potential wear tear? Because I see it has more mechanics than like a normal anchor. Like what if the spring goes out or things like that? Like is there a higher possibility that that anchor would break sooner than like a normal anchor?
Right now, it can quite probably more useful than just a single ankle, but if you, I've said on plenty of wild angles that I've had, but that's why it's just a prototype right now. So in the final design, it won't be made of, I just 3D printed this. So it will be made of a scolioid material, and it won't be using nuts and bolts. I found out those.
Very good. I was going to ask about the durability as well. From a cost standpoint, am I correct? The nearest competitor that had the tension at the top, those were twice as much, and you got a couple more.
Yes, sir.
But your cost-wise, what would the material be? I know you said you 3D print that, but
I'll still make it out of, at least for the t-shirt ones, make it out of like a plastic material, similar to just a normal plastic angle. And so it'd be more injection molded. And then it would use rivets, like plastic rivets instead of these nuts and bolts. And then I put that, I've used a rubber band on all the prototype, now I've moved on to springs. So whichever I can find a perfect fit for would be that.
Last question.
Thank you. Just a moment here, and next up will be Brooks Mechanics, Brooke May. Judges are ready.
Birthday, I'm a medical laboratory scientist major here at MSU. I own Brooks Botanicals. We are a mail order business selling exotic house plants. We ship across the United States. You can see a picture of there's so much opportunity in this market. 66% of consumers in the United States own at least one house plant. When I started off as a hobbyist years ago, I noticed a huge gap in the market. I wanted to grow these rare, elusive plants, but I had nowhere to buy them from domestically here in the United States. Throughout my connections as a hobbyist, I started importing them for myself. From countries like Indonesia, everyone journey. After years of collecting, trading, and selling on a small scale, I have decided to now turn. Right here's one of my Ethereum, crystal. So my solution to this problem is to sell my products on a safe, secure platform like Etsy. I have a large and curated selection available for sale, and I have free shipping. And it's our fair to do, and we want to make sure that it's free. I grow a wide variety, ranging from carnivores, plants that grow in places like India, all the way to philodendron. How it works. Currently, I have an Etsy shop. In the future, I would like to like I said, I have several options for shipping so that customers can choose the speed at which to get there. And then as plants are perishable, I do have to consideration of weather. So in the winter, I do have some upgrades for cooler shipping. These are 72-hour heat packs and thermal packs. In the summer, there's also some obstacles if it's really hot. So I have heat packs and things like that. A very quick turnaround time. Usually I take around 2. So the financial model. So currently I sell on Etsy. These are 20 cents plus 5% of the total sale, as well as 3% of the total sale plus 25 cents per Etsy fee. As you can see here, this is my starting in January. So my net profit this year has been around $7,200. You can see how much the fees were, and marketing, and I started kind of experimenting with Etsy ads. With Etsy ads, you can kind of customize the amount you wish to spend. So I've been experimenting. So I sell a wide variety of plants. Some are more on the cheaper end, some like this, around $700. And it also depends on if I have the plant in production myself, like as a mother plant, or if I import the plant and directly sell it. So on this one, my unit revenue was $793. Materials were $55. That's how much the plant cost. Along with Etsy fees. So the gross margin was $670. Picture here is one of my business. So the sales and marketing. So
We have 3 minutes for questions. I have a question for you. Could you go back to slide 4? Or, I'm sorry, slide 5. The next. The one thing I'm not seeing here is the cost of the product itself that you're selling. Because, and I realize that someone, you said you may have the mother plant that you're selling from, but if you're bringing something in from Peru, there's a shipping cost, but there would also be a cost of the active product. So, what am I missing? Is it included in here?
on this, like this plant here, I imported from Ecuador. It's not the one of the pictures. But that one I bought for $50. And I bought lots of other plants with that as well. So I just tapped on the $5 that was good. And I divided that among the other plants.
I know we ran out of time here about the sales part, but I'm fascinated. I'd like to ask if you would consider the subscription model.
I know several other of my competitors, they do have. Seem to be really well. So it's definitely something I would look into.
Go ahead, Gary. Can you go back to the sales and marketing on the slide, just, because I'm interested to see like the specific target, what the specific market is buying, you know, like $700, or like what specific is interested in that.
So my specific market, the statistics, you know, they say that the age that buys the most is 65, 74 years old. I think maybe that's more towards gardening, but for my customer base, I would think what was 25 to 35 years old. And the location is usually the southern states or out.
You ever run into the issue like bringing these species into the United States? Is there any kind of rules and regulations on bringing invasive, some invasive species and stuff like that? Is there any cost in that?
Yes, so my exporters, they use fire certificates, and you have to have one of those anytime you bring in, plants from another country. So they make sure that, there's no pests, and it gets inspected both by the coming from and the United States. So the only thing
You noted there that you did approximately $200 if you want. So, my question there is, does that target, can we extrapolate that, or are you doing approximately 36,000?
and right now, I just have my greenhouse in my bed. I'm very limited in my space, but like when I graduate, I would like to get a bigger one.
That's terrific.
Okay, and our fourth team will be REMS, Liam Nelson. Our judge's moment.
Hello, everyone. Let me introduce you to REMS, or Residential Energy Maintenance Service. So we have a problem, and that problem is, now traditionally, solar and wind are growing exponentially, right? We get that since the 2000s, they've been growing absolutely wild. Not necessarily in the south, but definitely in the northeastern and western states. Now, there's a problem with those, and I'm sure we don't know what that is, right? Is it doesn't work when the sun's not shining and the wind's not blowing, right? So how do we do that though? How can we implement those things and then not work all the time? Because the electricity works no matter what, right? So how they do that, the utilities have a solution. That solution is to keep the coal and gas plants running, even though the renewables are hard at work when the sun's shining and the wind's blowing. So you are blowing money on those coal and gas plants, even though solar and wind exists, right? It makes no sense. So traditionally, as I said, utility provides power to the home, right? That's how it's been since the dawn of time. Utility generates the power, sends the power to the home. But lately, we've seen grid operators start popping up because of regulation, right? And when that happens, that introduces energy markets. And energy markets, that introduces competition. So now you can have Joe down the street and buy a power plant, and then he can now compete with the utility, right? Now REMS pops up. Now, you and I, we may not be able to go out and buy a power plant, right? I can't. I don't have multi-million dollars lying around. With REMS, you can become a power plant by utilizing your HVAC, your water heater, your fridge, whatever, in certain times, so that when the grid price is high, you can reduce your load, and then the price, you make money off of that. So let me introduce you to the platform. So REMS will allow you to track individual loads, as I said earlier, HVAC, electric charging, hot water heating, right? And then you will get an alert on your phone that says, hey, there's a demand response event coming up in 30 minutes. And then REMS, with your permission, will automate what gets reduced, and it will get reduced at a specific amount for a specific amount of time. And then when that reduction takes place, if you follow through, complete the reduction event, then you get money. Now, I like money, especially when I don't have to do anything for it, right? So let's go into how they make money, right? If we have this platform in place, the utilities no longer have to run these coal and gas plants all the time, right? They can turn those off, take those savings that they get from turning those off, give it to us, REMS, and then we can share some of our profit with the people who reduce their demand. It's a really simple concept. So now I want to talk about some history and how this has worked in the past. So AEMO, or Australian Energy Market Operator, is the energy market in Australia, and they completed a platform in 2019 that allows homes to participate in the energy market. And LX, they took advantage. They went in, they got a bunch of homes together, aggregated them, shipped them out as demand, and LX has quadrupled their profit since 2019. CAISO, California, same situation, just more recent. Late 2021, released an energy market platform, OwnConnect, still a startup, they're now valued at 200 million, less than a year. MISO, another energy market, that is the one REMS will target. It goes from Minnesota to Mississippi, and they, however, there's a catch. Their energy market is not going to be developed until 2028 that allows homes to participate. However, REMS is not dragging our feet. We are implementing a test prototype in a solar decathlon house. Now, a solar decathlon is a competition where students design and build a net zero energy house. And REMS will be incorporated into that platform in close collaboration with Ford County and TVA. And we've already been in conversations with them, multiple conversations. And we are discussing things such as how we should price this electricity, how the communication will take place, and how much demand needs to be reduced per home. So in 2024, ideally, solar decathlon will be complete, and we will have a partnership with TVA where we can scale across their service territory. However, if we for some reason fail to scale across their service territory, and the reason we would have to work with TVA there is because they don't operate in the energy market, right? So we would have to work with it. But just down the street, Entergy in the west half of Mississippi, they operate in MISO, and we would get people to pre-register and go and participate in MISO's market in 2028. Thank you, everyone, and I will now field the questions.
didn't see any cost for this. That was,
Yeah, and yeah, I was expecting that question. Now, the cost is, quite frankly, extremely complex. I'll give you a scenario to answer this question. So in the South, for example, you have load pockets, and in some cases, demand response in those load pockets, it's going to be extremely valuable, right? Because they would have to turn on a very expensive generator to cover the cost of covering that load pocket with reliability, right? So in that case, the homeowners can make up to $300 per demand response event. But in general, you're going to see around $50 to $100 per event. Demand response event. Yeah, the event where we tell the homeowner, reduce your demand. Yes.
So on a monthly basis, you said.
Yes, so OnConnect is the utility, or not utility, the company that I referenced. They go off of the market fundamentals. Now, we have not talked to TVA about how many events they have, but I know in the MISO market, we could potentially do a demand response event twice a month.
From a business standpoint, manufacturing, I know we ran automobile structures, and so we operated at certain times when market costs with demand was down. So it's, you're doing that to save money, obviously. Would corporations be able to participate in this, or?
Yes, and actually, corporations do participate, but that is a very heavy market. And because they're forcing, this is a long story, FERC is the regulator that regulates the electricity markets. They're forcing them to create energy markets for homeowners to allow them to participate. It was, the timing is right for us to go into that market as opposed to industry.
You should start with utilities on there. Is there?
Yes, so we have spoken to them, but we don't work with them as closely as Fort County or TVA.
That 2024 was with the pilot study. Is that right?
Yes, so
it would be accomplished.
Yes, sir. So the solar decathlon is going to be complete in 2023. And by that time, we will have an application developed. And I wanted to take 6 months to make sure testing was good with TVA, make sure it works correctly, the communication works correctly. And at that point, we would then, be in conversations with TVA by 2024, you said, to hopefully start scaling.
I know we got a ton of time, but you just be a little more specific and precise on what the product is. In other words, is it the application software? Is it hardware? Are you an aggregator?
We are an aggregator, yes, sir.
Is there any education that the client might want to have this, how to use or their training?
Yes, well, yes, and LX, I mentioned earlier, has great training on their website that dumbs it down, in a way so, people can understand it.
So it's not a huge curve.
It's pretty, yeah, I mean, it was tough for me to simplify it, so, and I still could probably, improve on that.
We are fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, a reminder to our audience, don't forget about the People's Choice Cards. If you haven't got one, make sure you get one. Definitely want to vote on tonight's competition. This is worth $500. All right, our fifth presenter this evening is going to be Katie Candler & Co. Standing Parks. Welcome, Katie.
Good afternoon. My name is Kennedy Parks, and I'm a senior psychology major at Memphis, Tennessee. When I was 11 years old, I faced my greatest trauma, which was the loss of my father to suicide. As I grew up, I realized that my father neglected his own mental health, and I always shied to mine first. During my sophomore year of college, another test of perseverance came my way. As I realized I was in another state alone, still grieving the death of my father, and going through many things that many college expected. I was so focused on reaching the finish line and doing everything I could to reach that point that I slowly started to neglect my mental health in the same way my father did in the past. That is why I created this team. Did you know 48.3 million adults in the United States suffer from mental health illness? But nearly 60% of those people reported they have never received mental health services. Additionally, only 39% of men and 32% of women practice self-care. 32, 39, this sounds like a pretty fair number considering all the curveballs life comes to us. So let me put that in real world perspective. That is only 61 million men in the total male population of 161 million, and only 53 million women in the total female population of 166 million. That isn't even half of both categories. Are you seeing the problem that I'm seeing? Many people in Starkville and surrounding communities have to travel on luxury teams. Additionally, many adults in the United States have heard generational opinions about mental illness and do not know how to use resources that they need. And as the statistic shows, many men and women do not know how to practice self-care, so they just ignore the problem altogether. Well, no worries, we're here to help. Did you know that the scent of a candle can enhance the limbic system, produce hormones to regulate mood, and boost your energy? Additionally, our customers receive a unique self-care tip and a happy seat to encourage them to participate in some self-care activity today, tomorrow, or whenever they can. Finally, KP Candles will take a stand against the stigma behind mental illness. Our company will provide you with an 8-ounce homemade candle made with 100% soy wax, which means that you get a clean and safe burn for you and the environment. Additionally, a sole part of our mission is to enhance your self-care journey. With our self-care essentials, including journals, mugs, and apparel, our customers are reminded that they always matter. When you think of a candle, you think of some quick alternatives like Walmart, TJ Maxx, and Bath & Body Works. But what sets it apart is our use of 100% soy wax. Soy wax is beneficial because it does not release any toxins into the atmosphere. Additionally, we have a variety of scents ranging from foodie, family, calm, and fruity. Not only do we have candle products, we also have self-care essentials that aid your journey with your self-care journey. We have incorporated subscription boxes into our company so that our customers can be rewarded with a KP candle to order each month. With our newsletters, our customers are reminded of positive affirmations, self-care activities, and positive quotes. Finally, our biggest separation from our major competitors is the message that we provide. We hope that our customers have a different perception of mental health after they become a member of our brand. Here in this table, you can see the products that we offer, the average cost to make them, the total cost of the product, the margins, and profits. We have participated in pop-up shops where we've made over $700 in just 4 hours. And this week, we successfully launched our website and we made over $850 before the store opened. Some marketing strategies that we've come up with is a website access for people who are not in the city. So far, we've had orders from 7 different states and 1 large order from Australia. Additionally, we would like to purchase social media ads so we can engage with our audiences of all ages. We also want to collaborate with mental health influencers, bloggers, and therapists so that our company can also be educational resources for our customers. We have 3 pop-up shops lined up, 2 in April and 1 in May. And we also want to get our products into boutiques and hotels so we can get that advantage. We've been talking with a lot of business owners in Starkville, and one piece of advice they've given us is to always be consistent on social media so that we can engage with our customers more than just once a month or whatever we see. KP Candle isn't just a candle company. We strive to change the perception of mental illness. It is time for us to take our mental health just as serious as our physical. It is with our hope that with one light of a candle, our customers are encouraged to participate in some type of self-care activity. Thank you for listening to my presentation today, and I hope you always have. Always have.
There, you got the wax, I mean, the warming wax, right? And then you got the candle. What about, what about the sticks, the scent of the sticks? What do you call it? The sticks release the scent.
This right here?
No. No.
Not yet.
No. Somebody help me.
Yeah, it's diffuser.
A diffuser?
I'm sorry?
It's a diffuser, like you
There
put
you
the sticks in the
go. Thank
oil and then
you.
you evaporate. Your transport.
Yes.
I'm actually in classes right now for my.
Okay, because one of the things that is a problem with candles is
The one.
the flame and it burns and, you know, as somebody who has renters who have used candles all, I've had burn marks on my ceiling. because they
Oh,
come
yeah.
up. But the diffusers are really pretty cool, and so it might fit what you're doing, so obviously you're looking at that.
Looked at something like an Etsy or, you know, something along.
So right now, we're dealing with Shopify to do all of our orders, so it's really helping us get rid of, like, we're not getting rid of, helping us with inventory, orders, margins, and profits. My next option is to go the Amazon and Etsy route, so that I have different revenue streams.
So you make them, you make them yourself.
One night, during quarantine, I was bored and I can't sing, draw, can't act, and he didn't. So I was like, it's all like, look at something that's cool. So I YouTube how to make a candle, all the next like a little kid. I made so many things to family, and I was like, this is my soul care. So I don't want to share my soul care with other people and show them what I've been through, and then they can get out of it and make some money on it.
I'm just curious, you differentiated besides perhaps the sounds of there's lots of candles by a lot of different companies. So your message is something. Do you have a way to target customers through that message?
Yes, I'm actually a member of House of Office Sorority Incorporated, and it is a lifelong organization. And so one of our main targets is global impact and our health. And so I've been in the organization for 4 years, I joined as a freshman, and I've held so many mental health events. I've held events in Starkville that's not on Starkville campus, like outside of it, like Miss Smith's organizations like that. Right now, my main way of like spreading this message is through social media, through organizations like AA and stuff like that.
A quick thought, right? The follow-up would be, would you consider as part of the model donation? You know, this is right for, you know, product where for every product sold, we donate X amount to this college.
I actually have 3 to 4% fee. I'm in the process of talking to Donald, we've already been in contact, but I'm donating 3 to 4% of my annual sales to non-inclusion.
Your last question. Okay, and our last presenter tonight is Mr. Timothy Wondrow with Untriggered.
Hello, my name is Timothy Warner. There's currently a very large group of people who have a unique problem, and they're willing to pay a lot of money to help fix this problem. But there's no real products that can help them. Misophonia is a neuroauditory condition where specific noises trigger somebody's fight or flight response, causing extreme anger or panic. So you know the feeling that you get when someone scares you. You jump, you flinch. There's a shock of adrenaline. There's an extreme, immediate, and intense reaction to being scared. Then you have to calm yourself down. You have to lower your adrenaline, you lower your heart rate. Now imagine that reaction happening every single time you hear a sound, hundreds of times a day. That's what misophonia is. And the sounds that cause this reaction are not even rare sounds. They're common. Eating, breathing, humming, even certain kinds of footsteps can cause this extreme reaction. So it's not exaggeration when I say you could, I'll hit you on the head with the guitar and it would hear you, and you could have 500 people lined up willing to pay you $5,000 to hit them on the head with the guitar. So people with misophonia have been dealing with this for a while. They've developed some coping mechanisms like noise canceling headphones, which do help with trigger sounds in the world around us. But for triggers in recorded media, there's not really anything that can help. If you're watching a TV show and someone's eating on the TV show, you can't put on noise canceling headphones to block out the sound. You're already wearing headphones. One of the biggest things that I've heard from my fellow misophones is that podcasts in particular are almost impossible to listen to. In a movie or TV show, if the character is making some sort of noise that's triggering, you can skip ahead a few minutes and avoid being triggered. But in a podcast, if the host is being noisy, the host will always be noisy. So there's no option except for to completely avoid that podcast forever. So into this desperate market steps Untriggered. Untriggered is a podcast streaming service that uses AI to identify trigger sounds in audio and remove them. It's done by faces all you notice to triggering sounds, and it's immersively done now. That's what Untriggered does. It takes a podcast full of smacks, clicks, breaths, and it removes those sounds, making the podcast free from triggers and free from the fear of triggers. And this AI is not theoretical. I've trained it, I've tested it. It can remove these sounds from podcasts, and I can listen to a podcast that's gone through this AI without being triggered. So there's, based on some recent surveys that I've done, there's at least 500,000 people in the US alone who want to listen to podcasts, but can't because of these triggers. And there's 3 key ways to reach them with this product. There's some online support communities like Reddit and Facebook with tens of thousands of users who have this condition. I've done a lot of my market research on these platforms and found there's an overwhelming desire for a product like this. There's also some common misophonia resources like the Misophonia podcast or the annual convention happening here in the sphere where we can spread our product. And thirdly, we plan to target influential figures in the misophonia world so that they can spread the word as well. Now, this podcast streaming service will be sold as a subscription with 2 tiers. It's a free tier supported by ads, and a paid tier, $5 a month, no limit on the amount of podcasts that can be listened to. Now, a financial model built by students here at State using some conservative growth estimates shows an annual revenue of about $3 million by year 4. However, this is only a small application of this AI that we're developing. We're limited by data collection capabilities. Data collection is expensive, it's tedious, and it requires an in-depth knowledge of the problem we solve. With our small amount of funding, we can only focus on this small aspect of podcasts. However, with more funding, we can expand our product to be able to cancel out any trigger sound coming from a phone, a tablet, a computer, and increase our available market by a few million at least, and increase our total revenue tenfold. With your support, we can begin to remove trigger sounds from the lives of people with misophonia and begin to build a world of auditory peace.
Quick question for the misophonia?
Misophonia, yes.
Misophonia. How many members of the association nationally?
Let's see. It's been a while since I've looked at the numbers. If I remember properly, it's within the 10,000s with the Misophonia Association itself, people who either follow the newsletter or involved in it in some way.
But as far as the number in the, like in North American environment.
Who actually have the condition? So it's a little hard to tell because there hasn't been a whole ton of psychological work here, so it's not full known. But based on the estimates that have been done in studies and research, the round numbers are about between 5 and 15 million who have it very severely in the US alone.
I have one follow-up on this. AI that's developed is an app, or I'm in my house, I'm watching TV. How do I parlay this product?
Okay, yeah, so currently the app is just being applied to podcasts, so they're pre-processed and then uploaded to the site and then can be streamed. In the future, the plan is to have some sort of either a plugin or an app of some kind that is installed locally on the machine and will run that processing.
Could you do it through an Alexa? Through an Amazon Alexa process?
Yes, those require cloud processing, but they don't have processing power to compute. But if you do cloud processing, then it's absolutely possible.
She listens to me all the time about housing. I'm just thinking that would be a possibility while you watch TV or something.
Absolutely, yes.
So what classifies like children boards? And the boards that I gave some scratches from chalkboard, and so.
Yes.
Is that a sign of it?
So it's a little fuzzy on that basically. Everybody's got different things now. Based on some research, it's most likely due to some trauma in childhood or something that's the first triggers. But there are some common trigger sounds that most people have, which is lots of like clicking noises are fairly common. Footsteps. That was okay. Yeah, pretty much. I knew someone who was severely triggered by people rubbing a very specific kind of fabric, and that was her only trigger. So it really could be anything.
So is the person, so like, the me and not able to, is there like a safe where I can put it with my trigger sound using targets that specific sound?
Yeah, basically it's we call it a set of libraries. Each sound has its own library. You choose that library, all those sounds.
What's the specific market for
For the podcast right now?
yeah, just as far as
Yeah.
this one.
So my marketing partner, he couldn't be here today. We filmed a couple ad videos, and we started to build basically a storyline of sharing this product, starting out with spreading the word, getting people's input. We target ads, especially on the support communities, and then from there we're going to start pushing this particular product.
Would you get potentially podcasts to pay for you rather than consumer?
That's actually something that I've started to consider very seriously recently. I think it's a very good option, partially because it takes away, all the advertising we have to do to the user, don't have to work with business to business sales at that point. So it's a very, very viable option. I'm looking at it.
You need access to the podcast and then there's a delay like put it through your AI.
Exactly.
So working on the front end might be far more efficient.
Yeah, that's actually something that was brought to my attention recently.
For your last question. Thank you very much. Okay. Godspeed, judges. That's going to be tough for you. So, folks, what we're going to do is, judges, you're going to follow the lovely accountant's proclaimer over here. She's going to take you over to the center that will be able to start our deliberation. To the audience and presenters, please join us out in the atrium. We'll have catering starting shortly, and you're welcome to have a seat and join us for the award announcement. Yes. You, People's Choice, be sure to fill out your card, see our lovely and talented folks wearing black here, and we'll let those from you and make sure we get those back. We'll see you at the end. Just a bit.